So we're Hazel and Tjaart van Sail. We have recently immigrated to New Zealand, so we're in Auckland, New Zealand. We've been here about 3 weeks now. Yeah, so we started with Waypoint when Waypoint started. So we're part of the original members, the originals. We should call them.
We are the originals.
The originals. And
the Avengers.
Right back, when it was in that, when they had church in the house behind Jacques and Jacqueline's house. So, so we go way, way, way back. We do still consider ourselves waypointers. So thank goodness for online church.
The morning service, morning experience is 11:30 on a Sunday night. So it's going to be a huge challenge to stay awake because we still in between the time zones. But at this stage, we still Waypoint congregants.
So I think I started before you. Yes. So way back before we even got married, which 18, 19 years ago, when Tjaart went and asked my father for my hand in marriage, my father said that with the English and the Afrikaans, we need to decide before we get married how we're going to raise our children. What language school, what language church, all of that kind of thing. So we decided English schools, Afrikaans churches. So I was, what do you call it? Aangeneem in the NG Kerk, and took our kids to the NG Kerk. And then, anyways, and then Waypoint split under the same umbrella, but it was English. So I kind of, felt a bit bad, and it's supposed to be the Afrikaans thing we have with our kids. But anyways, so I went to the first service, and then we went away on holiday. So I'll tell you how we actually got to go to Waypoint.
But we'll do that later.
Oh.
Yeah, but my first memories of Waypoint was in the coffee shop, the restaurant, where the St. Elmo's, is that the right name?
San
Fernando's pizza place is now. And that was my I was brought up in the NG Kerk. And I was a diakon at a very young age, 21, 22. And I did my service there. And then when I came to Waypoint, everything needed to be set up in the coffee shop. Where we started off. So you had to go there very early, and for the first time in my life, I felt at service, not only to God, but also to my fellow Christians that came to church with me. And I loved it. It really triggered something in my heart to do some grafting before church and do some grafting after church to set up and to take down. That was my first memories that I have of belonging, and also actually giving back to God. That was my first memories of Waypoint. Yeah.
Definitely the kids camp, the transit camp. So just before COVID, so it was about 2 years ago, we had a transit camp. So we were transit leaders, and ourselves and Alta and Francois went out. It was just the four of us, hey? And a whole lot of the children, and we had so much fun with them. And we connected with them on such an amazing level. We even brought one of my daughter's friends with, who was an atheist and was brought up in an atheist home. And she said to me that weekend, she said she didn't realize Christianity could be such fun. And she also didn't know that that you could be yourself. So it was very interesting. And that weekend was her first encounter with that there's a higher power. So that was an amazing experience, but fun, so much fun. I really think that was probably one of my favorite weekends ever.
Yeah. I also agree with what Hazel was saying. And obviously we discussed it beforehand, and I would say there was two times which was memorable to me, highlights in my time. There were so many. I mean, if you will have to stop the church and just tape us for hours and hours and hours if we have to recall all. But two were standouts for me. One was when I was baptized, and it was at Tjaart's house in August of 2016. 9th of August. And the second memory that stands out for me was when the kids were baptized. And when Daniel was baptized that night, that is something, because we came through the ranks and the transit a lot. So we did transit. And there was such a tight bond that was formed with the kids. I think we took 2 generations of kids through transit, and each and every kid is special for me. And I mean, but that bunch was really a special bunch. There was times that's not COVID.
We know we've been tested 4 times in a week.
4 times, yeah. There were times where I actually took guidance, spiritual guidance from the kids. God spoke so much through them in those sessions. I mean, I'm not at all ashamed to admit it, that part of this journey, coming here to New Zealand, started off in a transit class. So I mean, where God, the lesson was where God puts you on the right path, and His will must succeed. And although you can wander off the paths, ultimately you're going to reach your end goal, because that's the goal that He set up for your life. And that was part of our journey when I prayed about it, and He showed me the way. It started off in a transit class, and it started off with that bunch. I'm like a proud father when I look at those boys and girls, and I still follow them. What they do, where they are. So yeah, memorable highlights. Those were the ones.
So we had these lovely neighbors, the Conradis, who are always very involved in the church. Anyway, so I met Annerie. I was pregnant with Kendra. She was pregnant with Kristen when she moved in, and we became good friends, did the whole maternity baby thing together, and they were members at the NG Kerk Kragkama. And there was an incident at the church where we were that we weren't so happy with. So we moved also with Alta to Ingekerk.
No, we're Alta's groupies.
Yeah. So we would follow Alta and the Conradis. But anyways, so then there was this discussion of Waypoint developing, and Anne-Marie and Francois had made the decision, and I've always kind of seen Anne-Marie as a she's just a godly woman, the epitome of a godly woman. So I've always very much taken my cue from her in a big way, spiritually, and as a woman. So anyways, I go to the first experience, and Tjaart and I land up going on holiday, and there's big discussions about whether we're going to go with Waypoint or stay where we are.
We prayed into it.
Yes, so we prayed into it, and we were discussing it amongst ourselves and all of that. And then the one afternoon, we switched on
at the place where we stayed.
Where we were on holiday, and we switched on, and there was a movie.
We looked at the movie guide, and there was a nice movie that was going to show, Skop Skiet en Dinges movie. And when the movie started to play, it actually was a Christian movie, a very insightful Christian movie. And at that stage, both of us looked at each other, and I made sure to see if I'm on the right date, and we were. And we looked at each other, and because this happened minutes after we prayed into it and spoke about it. And we looked at each other and we said to each other, you know what, this is it.
It was about having to make changes.
It was what about changes, and that it's the right thing, and but it was confirmation. It was confirmation as God wants us to walk this journey. And that's it. We made up our minds, God made up our minds right there and then.
And then I started serving as a greeter. So I was at the door greeting, and I absolutely loved it, the welcoming committee. And Tjaart said he wanted to go be at the Sunday school. And at that stage, I was still counseling at schools. And I said, I am so sick of seeing children every day. I am not working with children. So God always puts me with children. So inevitably I landed up with the children, which I loved. I'm good at it. I always kick fuss, But I loved. So I went from being on the welcoming committee, which I loved, to helping out at the Sunday school. And then when they decided to do this in-between phase, the transit phase.
Yeah, because we were at Upstreet first, and we forgot to say that we, through groupies, followed Alta to Waypoint as well. So I was involved first at Upstreet, and then we decided, because as things evolved, the more children became teenagers, and
there was a gap.
We decided to split up Upstreet, and then transit came into being. And I had this calling from God to say I must get Hazel more involved with the teenagers, and that we need to do it as a team.
Because they're my favorite group to work with, not my favorite group to raise.
Yeah. There we go. Now, and then we were at transit, and
we were there for years.
For many years.
From Jacqueline and Jacques' house to the other church building to we were there for a long time. So we and funnily enough, some of the children that finished off a transit with us were with Tjaart at Sunday school when they were little already. So that's why we have an exceptional bond with all those children.
Yeah.
So we still keep in contact, and we'll continue to keep in contact with those children. There have still been instances where they've contacted me to ask me questions just about life and whatever. So like I say, I scope fuss and say, no, I'm not working with children anymore. God goes, You said when you were 10 years old you want to work with children, I'm going to give you children.
Yeah, and I will obviously, as I stated, I started off in the serving group, setting up, breaking down, and that was very rewarding as well. I really enjoyed the camaraderie on a Sunday morning, working with the guys and girls. It was lekker, and then going on to Upstreet, where I learned a couple of dance paces with songs. But I think my real passion came in when we did transit. That was amazing. It was amazing to bond with the kids.
Passion.
Yeah. Journey. I think, you know what, and I'm going to qualify why I'm saying journey for myself. I was on a wrong path, and around about 2013, 2014, God started to work with me and going to happenings, and it was at that stage that Waypoint happened. And if I look back at my 7 years at Waypoint, it was a journey, and it was a nice journey. It was a journey where God took me from the desert, and he led me to the promised land. And I will forever be grateful for Waypoint and its leaders, because they were gehoorsaam in listening to God. And I know that there's difficult times as well, and there will always be difficult times for any leadership in any environment. But ultimately, obedience led to so many lives that were changed through a journey with Waypoint, through a journey with God.
I say passion.
A passionate journey.
Yes.
Yeah.